Here we are, finally back on the channel that was blocked for 2 weeks. And I want to say to all those people who have missed us for 2 weeks and didn't know where we were, well, you're a bunch of fools. No, I'm sorry, but that's the same thing I'm going to say to the Italians. Those people who for 2 weeks just wondered where we were are a bunch of idiots, mentally ill people. That's it. I'm sorry, but that's how it is. I have to say it. Those people need to know that if they want to follow us, they always have to subscribe to the emergency channels that are provided to you in the listings of this video. I
can't see anything right now because I was trying to fix that light and I stared right into it and like everything's
well, I'm at least glad that somebody's joining us for this emergency transmission. We are
there's 20 people. That's good.
Well, we have somebody who has tuned in, but I repeat, I was really upset because people didn't listen to what I reiterate for months. You need to subscribe to the emergency channels. If you are watching us from our main channel, we have actually launched a new official channel, which is called the Leo Zagami Show channel. So if you want, I can now, this is something that I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna show to the people that, of course, have just tuned in that we have a new official channel. This new official channel was launched on Saturday. For all those people who really want to follow us, well, we have a new channel because we are probably going to lose this main channel very soon. It's just a matter of time.
And also maybe our Facebook page.
Of course, you will be able maybe to follow us on Facebook, though we have received also strike on Facebook regarding transmissions on the Leo Zagami Adventures in America homepage. You got the strike, eh?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, I want to thank first of all those people who made this show possible. Bruce Kodesh, Pina Caero, Giuseppina, and then we have some anonymous donors that still don't appear on our Fundly. We want to thank them though, and then I think we that's it, no?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Well, if you want to help us, you can do it, first of all, by subscribing to all our channels, so at least you can reach us and push like the button. When you push the like button, it's not a difficult thing to do. It doesn't cost any money. Huh? You can at least sacrifice yourself. Like. At least that.
You're in a bad mood.
No, it's not a bad mood. It's a question for 2 weeks people didn't follow us because they simply didn't bother to subscribe to the emergency channels. And I'm so angry with... I mean, I shouldn't be angry, you know. Well,
don't be mad.
Don't be mad. Okay, so we have some breaking news from the Vatican.
I was just trying to fix it without looking at it. Okay, it's better. Oh no, this light stinks.
This light stinks. So you want to put that a bit more and then this and that, you know?
No, I have a shadow on my neck. Okay, just do the news.
Okay, don't worry. Well, first of all, guys, we have some breaking news from the Vatican we will be discussing today, which is very important. We thank those people, though, who have supported this show. And all those people who have supported this show, you know who you are. If I didn't mention, it's just simply because Fundly, GoFundMe, or Cash App that we regularly use to receive donations. They don't always tell us in real time who the donors are. So if you're following me today from the main channel, I give you the link to the new official channel here in the chat. Subscribe. Otherwise, you're going to get me really upset. Okay. I have to. That's how it is. Okay. While Chris is fiddling with the light, and of course we have some interesting news coming in from the Vatican. There is also the words of this guy here. Listen to him. I mean, it's just incredible what he said. I just can't believe. I can't believe it. Can you recognize this guy?
No, I don't know
who he is.
I don't know. I think he's trying to pretend to be somebody
I speak to you tonight from sacred ground in America.
We speak in sacred ground.
Independence Hall,
Ah.
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Oh.
This is where America made its declaration of independence to the world
declaration.
more than 2 centuries ago.
Ooh.
With an idea, unique.
I like it though, because this was transmitted also on Rumble and on other platforms by Gateway Bandit, and you should check out the comment that came up when he was saying this, which it's a kind of in line with what we're discussing today. It says here, let me see. Oh, Pedro Joy is a lying dog-faced pony soldier. Jeez, that's pretty harsh. Let's see what they said.
That in America, where
Joe
equal.
Isn't interested.
This is where the United States Constitution was written and debated. This is where we set in motion the most extraordinary experiment of self-government the world has ever known.
Joe.
We the people.
Billion.
Documents and the ideas they embody, equality and democracy.
Can't wait to hear the lovely objectives he plans to use against
this nation is built.
And actually, this guy here was very prophetic because he said, can't wait to hear all the lovely adjectives he plans to use against half of the country. And soon after, he actually did, calling basically all MAGA Republicans the worst threat to the country, disrespectful of democracy, and all the rest.
We became the greatest nation on earth. They're why, for more than 2 centuries, America has been a beacon to the world. But as I stand here tonight, equality and democracy are under assault. We do ourselves no favor to pretend otherwise. So tonight, I've come to this place where it all began to speak as plainly as I can to the nation.
Okay, speak plainly.
About the threats we face.
Oh, yes.
About the power we have in our own hands.
Okay.
To meet these threats. And about the incredible future that lies in front of us if only we choose it. We must never forget, we the people are the true heirs of the American experiment that began more than 2 centuries ago. We the people are burning inside of each of us.
Okay, we the people. But then later on, what does he say? Check this out.
No matter how difficult, no matter how painful. And here,
because here he has to say the truth. He says, here I'm going to tell you the truth. Even if it's a difficult truth. The MAGA Republicans. That's when he starts dissing the MAGA Republicans here.
Not every Republican embraces their extreme ideology.
MAGA Republicans embraces extreme ideology.
Normal. Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic. I want to be very clear up front. Not every Republican, not even the majority of Republicans are MAGA Republicans. Not every Republican embraces their extreme ideology. I know, because I've been able to work with these mainstream Republicans. But there's no question that the Republican Party today is dominated, driven, and intimidated by Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans. And that is a threat.
One guy, I like his comments, like Commander. Wow, what drugs have they pumped into this meat puppet?
Oh no, that's terrible.
They're hard things. But I'm an American president. Not a president of red America, blue America.
Yeah, sure. He thinks he's a unifier, while we all know that he's the most divisive president the country ever had. By the way, 20 minutes past the hour. Welcome to the special edition of the Leo Zagami show, which is actually dedicated and not only to the latest news, and of course we are commenting on Whatever, and then on the Democrats, we are really keen on fomenting a civil war. Who's gonna fight for them this civil war? RuPaul? Well, whatever. Let's move forward. This is, of course, the Leo Zagami show. This is my wife, Christy. We usually have an introduction to this show that we didn't yet put on. So here is the introduction to the show. Once we have the introduction, then we can...
And now, live from Palm Springs, California, your host, Leo Zagami.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, 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 yes.
Now we have a lot of people watching our dance, because usually there's nobody here. So now a lot of people.
I have a small message in Italian. There's a lot of Italians who have tuned in because they are also the ones who have not been able to follow me in Italian, so I can say maybe something for 10 seconds. Vorrei dire qualcosa agli italiani, a quelle teste di cazzo che per 2 settimane si sono domandati dov'è Leo Zagami, teste di cazzo! Ecco, teste di cazzo. I canali d'emergenza, ve l'ha mai detto qualcuno? Io. Ogni volta che faccio la trasmissione vi dico canali di emergenza e voi regolarmente ignorate le mie parole, quindi siete delle teste di cazzo. E adesso ricominciamo in inglese. And now we of course talk in English. There is of course Mauro Di Nardo Menotti, who is in Florida and follows me both in English and Italian, who knows exactly what I said in Italian. So he's laughing. He's laughing.
Everything's a cazzo in Italy.
Well, somebody said, will you do more DJing? Well, yes, if you have the money to pay me, because I'm a very expensive DJ, a very exclusive one who has played for very important people during my career, who plays very great music. And of course, if I have to play music these days, guys, I need...
Right.
Well,
that doesn't match.
You don't think it matches?
Is it purple?
Yes.
Oh, it is purple. Okay, it matches.
I hope so. Hello to brother Corey in Phoenix, Arizona. But it would be nice to do a DJ gig, but I will have to get the records sent from Italy. I have them already. I can't get everything arranged. But I don't know. But in fact, it will cost money, this whole operation. So, guys, I guess I'm not DJing anytime soon. The music, though, that we have for the start of the show, it's great music.
Dance macabre.
Okay.
What's wrong, Bruce? Why is he writing it? We have trolls.
Then don't watch. No, well, I mean...
Somebody didn't like you very much.
Who?
I don't know. Some guy said he didn't like you.
Yeah, somebody was saying on YouTube he didn't like me. Yes,
go change the channel. Go away. We don't like you either.
Well, I mean, there is always some people who don't like, you see, this guy. The crazy thing is that...
you don't care for Leo Zagami, Patrick Johnson Jackson, whatever your name is. Just go away then. I know exactly whose friend you are. You may go.
Whose friend is that?
That's Bruce's friend.
Is that your friend, Bruce?
That's why he was telling him that. That's his friend.
Okay,
all
so...
Right, serious. We have to do that.
Okay, so the thing is this, guys. The Vatican has made an unprecedented move. An unprecedented move that was announced on the 23rd of August. Now, we discussed in the past the importance of the number 23 that was also launched as a kind of iconic number by William Burroughs, which of course I knew because he was a dear friend of my grandmother, but also connected to Aleister Crowley, the Book of Lies, and many other things, but also to the Bible, because Numbers 23 contains the phrase, what hath God... How you read that? Because in
What hath God wrought? What hath God wrought?
Okay. And basically, I wrote an article about this unprecedented decision, because suddenly the Pope is saying to every Vatican institution, you can no longer keep your money in other banks. You have to send all of your money, all of your cash. Right now, you have 30 days starting from the 1st of September. This announcement was made on the 23rd of August, but it's from the 1st of September, from today. That's why I published the article today. They have 30 days. The Pope has never given deadlines. I mean, who is the Pope? A mafiosi. I mean, the Pope should be talking about Jesus, God, the saints, whatever. But instead, the Pope these days talks about basically, give me all your cash, and then we're gonna save probably the precarious finances of his Vatican. What were you doing, Christy?
The door was open and it opened and the wind blew it open.
Okay. So I published this article that you can check out on leozagami.com, because this is a very incredible situation. So we have a crisis, of course, of cash within the Vatican. We know that because you remember during the pandemic, the Vatican museums were closed down, and then I started to talk about the fact that there was also that scandal that took almost 500 million from the Vatican. That guy who was then Cardinal Becciu bought in front of the Vatican justice system and all that. Well, the interesting thing is that basically now we have this 30 days deadline, and it's happening right when Europe is actually, and the rest of the world, of course, everybody is telling me, but the whole world is in a financial crisis. Yes, guys, we are in a financial crisis here in America, but here in America, in theory, not in practice, we have oil, we have gas, we have the resources that Europe doesn't have physically. While instead, we only need to kick out this idiot from the White House who doesn't know what he's talking about and who thinks we are all a bunch of extremists. Well, now there is also another thing that is being proven, apart from you heard what, of course, Zuckerberg said to Joe Rogan regarding, the Hunter Biden thing that was, of course, not investigated within the FBI and all that. I mean, that is, it's in itself a scandal. But now there is also emails that prove, and this is serious stuff, that the White House has been conspiring all along under Joe Biden with Zuckerberg, with Twitter, directly to block and shadow ban users in a way that is, of course, illegal. And it's not really the kind of thing that you want in a country like America, maybe in some third world country, maybe in Russia, but here we are, in theory, in America, no? And now, here we are, you see, Missouri and Louisiana Attorney General asked court to compel the Department of Justice to produce communications between top officials and social media companies. Yesterday, Missouri Attorney General Eric Schmidt and Louisiana Attorney General Jeff Laundrie filed a joint statement on discovery disputes, asking the Louisiana District Court to compel the Department of Justice to turn over communication between high-ranking Biden administration officials from the White House, Department of State, FBI, of course, and others, and major social media companies, like Facebook, for example. The Department of Justice has already turned over communications between a number of federal officials and social media companies, but has refused to provide communications between top-ranking officials and social media companies. In that case, we will, of course, see that there is a collusion that is not, I mean, it's really a scandal of enormous proportions, just like the fact that the FBI is being used as a political tool. Now, the fact that the FBI has been used almost like the Stasi used to be used in Eastern Germany, so just like a political, like a secret police that is very invasive. I mean, like Mussolini's secret police almost. So, in my book, which you should all get, I mean, there is a lot of people follow this show, but I know that there is people who don't purchase my books and who come up here in the chat and start asking me questions that are here. And they are not only answered, but they are given in a way that you can really grasp the whole. No? And soon, guys, in the fall, we will have the new book of Leo Zagami, Volume 8, in both the Italian and the English language. And I can tell you guys, this book, it's a bomb. It's a bomb because this book is going to make you realize how Hollywood was put literally together in 1909, 1910, to prepare the arrival of the Antichrist. I will not tell more about this whole thing. It ends up with the Great Reset of Hollywood of Klaus Schwab and company. But all this was carefully orchestrated with a ritual and everything. And I bring you all the evidence. This is the most well-documented book I ever written. There is almost 1,000 footnotes, citations of credible and reliable sources that make this the most documented book on that infernal machine, Babylonian machine, which is Hollywood. So wait for, of course, this new volume, Volume 8 of my confessions. In the meantime, get Volume 7, otherwise you're not going to grasp Volume 8, that's for sure. Welcome to all the people who have just tuned in. Sorry if I was a little bit angry at the beginning, but I want to remind all those people who wondered where we were, that we were here all along. We were just broadcasting on our emergency channels.
Did anybody ask in the chat?
Sorry?
People were asking where we were? Yeah.
No, not really. No, Bruce said, some guy said he didn't like Leo and I wrote to him, don't watch. His comment was deleted, but I can't delete my response for some reason. That's what, no worries, Bruce, no worries. We can delete your response if you want. No worries. We just deleted his demented comment.
I don't understand why people, I mean, if you don't want to watch, you can go and find a channel that you like. Because the people that are here like this channel.
When people ask me here, Leo, what is the Outer Court of the Illuminati? You just have to read my books. Outer Court of the Illuminati, the Luciferian Court of the Illuminati, the Jesuits, and all these are subjects which I discuss very much in my book. So if you ask this question, you might have not read my book. Red Bill Quantum asks, thank you deeply for what you've done. God bless you. Well, no, it's not a question. It's actually a very nice comment. We thank you for that. Somebody talks about evil Khazari. Well, my friend, maybe you don't really know about Sabbatean Frankists. You are a little bit confused. You need to study a little bit better the various phases of course, of Judaism. And really, I can really say that when when I studied and I put together this book, I realized that really the manifestation of this heresy was within Judaism, which is the Sabbatean Frankist heresy, was really what gave that energy, that input that really pushed Hollywood from the start. Sabbatean Frankists are basically, Hollywood is like the Vatican of the Sabbatean Frankists.
Whoa.
Because it's like they built Hollywood in a way that really kind of like goes hand in hand with their philosophy of debauchery, perversion, of fomenting evil in order to reach the messianic end time. So I guess that there is going to be...
That's a backwards way to do it.
In what sense? No, well, I mean, it's the most sick way to do it, but Sabbatai Zevi started his...
What, do they just want to hurry up and go to hell?
now they think that by the whole world going to hell, then at that point God will be forced to send his Messiah. I mean, it's a sick, but also it's a way that forces us to understand how our society has been moving, following this ideology that also embraced, of course, was embraced by then people who evolved another new religion, which will become the religion of the Antichrist, which is, of course, Crowley's dilemma, because that's really, I mean, there is a gradual evolution that I have really talked a little bit about. Volume 4 is a very important book for that, regarding the links between the Sabbatean Frankists, certain branches of Freemasonry, certain sects, and so on. But regarding this book here, because My Lady's book is a very important book, and it's, of course, a book that is preparing us, first of all, for the great reject and societal collapse. Why am I talking about that? Because the fact that the Pope is giving us a 30-day, is giving his own institutions in the Vatican a 30-day deadline to give them all the cash and to actually close down their accounts.
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, so remember when you said that the Pope was going to announce maybe that he would retire?
Yeah.
Is he trying to get his retirement fund?
Well, that's a very good. That's a very, very good question. You have to understand really about this Pope. This Pope is trying to do what was not possible to Ratzinger. Ratzinger was actually trying within the last period of his papacy to also move certain funds around out of the. Actually, he was moving them out of the Euro into the Deutsche Bank. He was trying to, and at one point, even the cash machines of the Vatican in those days when he was resigning were closed down. So there was definitely something spooky going on. But when it comes down to the Pope here, I mean, I'm showing you now an article written, of course, by an Italian newspaper. You can also check, of course, the article that I published on leozagami.com if you want to read in English about all this. But this article in particular says the Pope is freeing himself of all other banks. Only the Euro, which is the Vatican Bank, will be able to take care of the Vatican finances. Let's not, so the money of the Pope, of the Vatican, of the Holy See will only be in the Euro. You see, that is something that Ratzinger, for example, didn't want. He wanted to actually kind of bring it out and somehow protect it. But protect it from what? Ratzinger was trying to protect those mafiosi that for a long time had used the Vatican Bank, but not only the mafiosi, even the CIA used the Vatican Bank. There is country for, I mean, you have that book by that Hollywood godfather, Gianni Russo. Maybe you can pick it up, it's over there. Now, that book, I think it's there. Just there, I think, yes. Now, this book, seemingly, I mean, I was actually not the one who bought this book. Why did you buy it? Why did you buy it? But this was.
I don't know, because I was friends with him on Facebook.
Okay, so this guy here. Now, I know that actually some of my friends have interviewed. I think maybe, I don't know if Lucas Alexander.
I think somebody did.
Somebody did. I don't remember. But this guy was actually in the movie The Godfather, and he's still alive, and he's a real mobster who confesses in this book that when the Shah of Iran came down, and at that point, it says here in this book, came down, basically Iran was, as you know, involved with the CIA, and then, of course, those extremists took the country to another directions, and we are still paying the consequences of that. But what happened is that he said that in the last days of the Shah in Iran, they picked up all the gold, they filled up a whole plane, and they bought the whole thing in the Vatican. There is here a photo of him and John Paul II in this book, just to make it clear to everybody what kind of crooks there is in the Vatican. Criminals.
They're a bunch of crooks. They're criminals.
So they took all the money of Iran. Iran now it's left there with a bunch of fundamentalist cripples who are, of course, then in debt with Russia, because then Russia came in and said, okay, you need some money? We will give you a few billions. And that's how then it started this link. In fact, now Iran has sent a bunch of drones to the Russians that are using them in Ukraine. Just what's happening then for the next 30 days? The Pope is trying to get all this money because this is what happens usually when the Pope is about to resign. We saw it with Ratzinger. We are seeing it now with Pope Francis. First of all, like I said, in August, he has elected another bunch of cardinals that will help electing the next Pope and make sure that this next Pope is just another Jesuit stooge. Like, it might not be a Jesuit, but it will be Jesuit control. Plus, like I told you, it might be also a black Pope for the first time in history. Black, not because he's the head of the Jesuit, or a Jesuit, but because he is literally going to be black. So this 30 days is also because we are in front of an unprecedented catastrophe in Europe, guys. We are talking about a catastrophe of immense proportions, something that you have never saw before. And I'm not exaggerating here. I want to be very clear. I'm not exaggerating. You need to prepare because, first of all, Europe needs to prepare. Because in America, at least, I think we have the weapons and we have the skills to survive a little bit better societal collapse. But what's happening here is very clear. The Pope wants to definitely protect the interests of the Vatican, as the rest of Europe is going to definitely go towards a catastrophe. The energy crisis is leading to a food crisis, then global unrest. So we are in front of the fertilizer crisis, which, of course, the main producer of fertilizer, Ukraine, Russia. Global fertilizer use could plunge 7% next season. IFA says about 25% of Europe nitrogen capacity is curtailed. This is, of course, Bloomberg. But here we have basically all the answers that you need for understanding what the Pope is trying to do, protecting the interest also, because in the meantime, the New World Order wants to grab the Vatican Bank and transform it in a transparent bank. Now, this was never possible because, of course, like I said, there is too many interests. The Vatican Bank was used even during the Cold War, in the last phase, to give money to Solidarnosc. So all the crookery possible. The head of the Cosa Nostra, guys, goes around the Vatican dressed up as a monk, Matteo Messina Denaro. The head of the Sicilian mafia lives in the Vatican today. Just so you know. But as I am the only one who says this thing, this video is probably going to be banned. This channel probably going to close down. And I'm fed up with talking with only a few people, with all the respect. I mean, we have, of course, a very loyal bunch of people, 50, 60, 70, maybe 100. Now we're back on it. But guys, we need to spread the word. You need to share these videos. We need to relaunch and make these channels great again, because our channel, the Leo Zagami, the first channel where I have 25,000 subscribers, went down in October 2020 because of the elections. Now, we know, of course, that there is a very bad political situation. They are criminalizing half of America, calling us semi-fascist. Semi-fascist. Just call us fascist then. I mean, what is semi? And so I really beg you to subscribe to the emergency channel, to a new, actually, official. It's not even an emergency channel anymore. It's an official channel now. I also would like to remind you that we don't do so many shows anymore, because like today, to do this show is going to probably cost us we have, I mean, I want to just explain the situation here in Palm Springs. The situation here in Palm Springs today is 117.
I think they lie too. I think it's more than that.
It's 117 the shadow, and the sun is much more. But around 117, 120, we need to blast air conditioning. The lights in the studio, of course, are still there. And so it costs us a lot of money just to produce. On Rumble, we occasionally upload something, but we don't really have the Rumble streaming because it will be adding cost to already a show that doesn't receive anymore the attention it used to. But we like to tell our viewers today, remember, our main show will always be there every Saturday at 10 a.m. And we do it because we have that loyal following. That really wonderful. We have a channel on BitChute. We will keep on uploading videos on BitChute. There is no streaming service on BitChute. We are at the moment, of course, broadcasting live, and we are doing it because we have some very important news. If the Vatican is really acting in an emergency situation like this, it means really there is not much time. I have spoke with economic experts in Europe. The situation in Europe is going really down the drain. Today, Vladimir Putin is in Kaliningrad. Kaliningrad is an enclave on the Baltic Sea with no connection to Russia, which is, of course, the fruit of the Yalta Pact. And it's also the fruit of course, what Russia used to be, a great country, which of course was very much feared and was capable of making itself respected worldwide. And it's still that great country because apparently now, guys, all that oil that they're not selling to us, well, you know what happens to it? They're still selling it to us. But we are paying the intermediaries. The Chinese. We are paying China a cut on Russian oil.
What is wrong with this? I know what's wrong with it. Oh gosh.
So the situation is crazy. So today, this morning, of course, before leaving for Kaliningrad, Vladimir Putin went and paid homage to Michael Gorbachev. Now, Gorbachev was, of course, regarded in the West as a great guy and all that. And, you know, when I went the first time to Russia in 1996, in a bit in a naive way, I kind of like, I said, you know, what do you think of, it wasn't too bad. No, Gorbachev did the glasnost.
We liked him in America.
They watched me, they were like. So then I had to understand why they didn't like Gorbachev. And then I understood the guy was an asshole. And then I discovered that the guy in 1988 was initiated in the first lodge opened behind, which was still, you know, there was a curtain, there was still basically a Soviet Union. But of course, the Grand Orient of France had revamped his own form of Freemasonry, and one of the first initiates was Gorbachev. Gorbachev, who of course sold out to the Soviet Union and collaborated to the defeat of this once glorious nation. Now, I'm not a communist. I hate communism, and of course I dislike the Soviet Union, but the way Gorbachev acted was simply a sellout. I mean, he wasn't making the interest of his country, and that's why he was never really loved when in the 90s we had first Yeltsin, and then of course we had the arrival at the end of the 90s of Vladimir Putin. And so Vladimir Putin didn't organize for him a state, you know, because they were wondering, as the last guy who led the Soviet Union, if there would be a state funeral. No, there will not be a state funeral for this reason. But he still went there, gave his roses, paid a minute homage to this person who still represents an historical figure. But, you know, for Vladimir Putin, at the time was in Dresden, the head of the working with Stasi, the head of the KGB in Eastern Germany, and suddenly Russia said, we will not intervene, and let the whole of the wall fall down and all of that scene happen. Well, of course,
Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Yeah, and Gorbachev, of course, tear it down, but Gorbachev had his own interest to tear down his wall and probably got a lot out of it. We don't know how much. We will never probably know how much. Of course, the guys who took power after he faded out into oblivion when the Communist Party disintegrated were no gentlemen. They were the oligarchs, a bunch of crooks. Now, one oligarch after the other, though, in the last few months, they have been all killed in mysterious circumstances. The last one, yesterday, suddenly fall down over... he kind of fall down in the courtyard of a hospital where he was being cured for heart problems. Another one, he was found dead with his family in, I think, his villa in Spain. They were all killed. But the most incredible, I must say, of the last few months of the oligarchs who died was this guy who went to a shaman with his wife, and the shaman poisoned him by cutting, because he said, to cure you, I have to do some cuts. And then he injected poison from not the frog, how it's called?
Toad?
Yeah. And so that was the most amazing of these deaths. I think 7 of them already died. It's like they all kind of fade out. Ooh. And as we know, at the beginning of the military operation in Ukraine, Putin said it very clearly. We will use this to clear out Russia, all these thugs and crooks. The guy who apparently was thrown out of a window yesterday in the hospital where he was cured for heart problems. He used to work for the Soviet Union, used to be the head of all oil. And so he was a communist, in theory, a communist. But when communism finished, he made billions. He made actually 14 billions. So this is what happens these days in Russia. There has been this death of this oligarch. There has been the fact that we are basically, when Europe says we are fighting, we are going to side with Ukraine at all costs, do they have the support of the people? Because the people already are coming from a couple of years of pandemic, really being pushed to the limits. How long before the people are going to rebel? Because, you can come up with some idiotic things, but sometimes they are too idiotic. Like, for example, here in California, suddenly we receive a letter, you can no longer charge your electric vehicle. I don't have an electric vehicle, but you can no longer charge it because you might put the stress on the power grid. So what the heck? You are forcing us. You're forcing us to buy these shitty electric vehicles. Now we can't even charge them. This is a fraud. And so who goes along with this fraud? Of course, all these idiots.
There's so many hybrids around here.
But they're not hybrids in the car only, they're hybrids in their mind. The problem here is with these people that are, they always like to take the moral high ground and watch you. Oh, he's a Republican, he's a conservative. These people have to fight a war. These people, house after house, they will be gunned down. Because if there is a civil war, that's what happens. Don't illude yourself. It's the same thing that I said to the people, those idiots who were fomenting the 6th of January, I said they were idiots to even believe they could do anything in that kind of scenario. There is no possibility of doing a civil war by going at Capitol Hill and doing that idiotic thing, which they did, falling into the trap of the enemy. So we are, of course, facing the possibility of a real civil war, which will mean America against American. Though these other kind of Americans are starting to become different. We recognize them. They're millennials. They are gender fluid. They like to take selfies at every second of the day. They live more on the internet than in reality. Will they be able to shoot a gun? Will they be able to shoot some? Well, will not be so in a few years from now, because they will be crying for the and then terror will come in. And then virility will resurface, because only like this we will re-achieve that virility, the masculinity which is missing from this society of, I don't want to say the word.
Oh, I feel it. Oh.
So, these crooks who have protected the system when the system was fighting communism, okay, but now these crooks are in bed with the enemy. They are promoting communism, socialism. That's what they're promoting in the Vatican, and that's what they're promoting. And it's, of course, in this kind of situation that I at times get upset when I see people using parts of my books and not crediting me and for their shows, and just simply, coming and on like on the scene, like they have something to say and they are just born yesterday. Here is a guy who has been around a long, long time, very long time. Okay?
It's just not fair.
Well, it's not fair. But in any case, when that time comes, don't come crying to me. Remember that. Remember the words I told you the 1st of September of the year of the Lord 2022. Don't come crying to me, because you will be crying. I'm sorry to say that. There will be a lot of people crying when they realize what's about to happen. So, another processing plant yesterday went on fire. Just so, no?
A food processing plant?
Yes.
Another one?
Another one.
It's not a coincidence.
It's not a coincidence, of course. It's not a coincidence.
God tells us to be aware of what's going on around us and to open our eyes and see. That's all God wants us to do, is to be aware. And, Christy, what do you think will happen? I mean, you have, of course, your boys, you have, of course, then like everybody, we have our children, we have our families. What do you think is going to happen here? I'm not worried, and I'm not scared. I've prepared. I know what's going to happen, and I have my faith in God. And I know that no matter what happens, that I'm going to be okay. So
that's a very good way of living, because there is another problem here, guys.
That's how I lived in Italy, though. I mean, I kind of did that too. Not as good as I do now, but it took some practice. Now, but, you just got to live without fear and believe in God.
The thing is that we're going to see more and more these assholes preaching from, from their own luxurious setups, from the White House, from wherever they are, from Nancy Pelosi's fridge in front of $1,000 of ice creams. They're going to be preaching to us that we will have to give up all this. We will have to live for a few hours a week without electricity. We will have to eat insects. We will have to renounce to our gasoline card. They will do nothing. They will gradually show this distance between us and them. They already showed us, with like Newsom during the pandemic, showed us a complete disregard. And still, the Californians, this bunch of idiots, were not capable of sending him back home, because they're not capable of understanding that the system here in California is rigged. The only way you can disrig it is either by bringing external investigation, which is never going to happen. Otherwise, you have to start a civil war within the state of California to regain California. Because California, guys, is the country of tomorrow. California is the state that represents the elite better than any other state. And in this book, I explain why I came to live in California. Because like a scientist studying a virus, I want to know where it comes from.
from which anus it comes from. And I tell you, here in Coachella Valley, they're all here, from Obama to the rest of them. Okay? What's that? Okay. So, there is no moving out. There is fighting, because you can move up wherever you want. The rest of the country is going to become like California, even Texas.
You're always right,
So the people should start listening to me for once in their lives.
I think that we listen.
No,
though.
but
you don't give us any credit. We listen, like all of us here.
Remember,
are you just saying in general?
Saying in general, because this
you're
video is
not
going to
talking to us.
No,
because we believe.
No, I'm talking to those people who's going to view this video in days, weeks, months, years to come.
Okay,
and they're gonna say Leo Zagami was completely right once again. And we were a bunch
down, and then you won't have any proof you said anything.
But we're gonna save it.
But you put it in your book. And that's where you say
and that's why you have to purchase the book. So you see, I want to show you something here. This is regarding Germany. Watch this. German foreign minister says support for Ukraine will continue no matter what voters think, no matter what the people think. So they will go on with this senseless war, with their great reset, no matter what we say. That's why we are better off here in the United States, where we have weapons at least to fight the civil war.
What's the point of having a stupid election anyway, then? I mean, if they're not going to listen to us, what's the point?
No, I mean, the elections are completely rigged in Europe. We still have one chance here in America. Let's see in the midterm elections and after, if they're going to rig the system or use the FBI to criminalize everybody and go after people like Trump, but not only Trump, because the FBI will go after Trump, but it goes after even the parents in the schools. So I mean, we are talking here about, that's how it is. The illusion of choice, right? Samuel Adams said it right. To give the illusion, but this illusion of choice was working when the American dream was working. Now, they have destroyed the American dream, obviously. But now, are they gonna respect the will of the people? Are they gonna ignore the will of the people? The big question is this year in the midterm elections. And when I saw the system of voting here in California, I was shocked by how it's rigged.
I know.
I mean, it's like they make everything possible for people to not even go and vote or interest themselves in voting. They make it impossible for the normal person to think they count anything in changing our society. California is completely rigged. But remember, guys, we can't say, oh, I'm going to leave the state, I'm going to go to Texas or Florida. No. I'm going to take out a machine gun and fight here in California for my state and for America, because the America that we like is being put in jeopardy by the Californian elite. People like Nancy Pelosi, people like Newsom, people that, of course, are a danger and a threat to our society. It's obvious that after I said all these things, this video is going to be brought down. Unfortunately. But that's how it works.
You said a lot of stuff is going to bring this down.
but I mean, the thing is, if it's brought down, remember, guys, we are broadcasting at the moment on Facebook.
There goes the Leo Zagami channel, Leslie. That's going to be out of here, because we only have one strike left on that one, and you said the bad things so many times.
Whatever. I'm fed up. I don't have patience. If people want to follow me, they follow me. As it seems 20,000 people didn't care about following me. They never subscribed to my new channels.
Well, a lot of people haven't subscribed to the new channel.
Well, but in the meantime, I had another 17 channels removed, and every time they reach 5,000, they come down and they bomb. It's like they nuked them. Boom!
They nuked mine too.
Yes, they not thought so yours because I'd reached the 5,000 limit and that's it, I think. Huh?
No,
I didn't reach yet the 5,000. What was it? 3,000?
it was like 3,000.
But it was a nice channel. Huh?
Mhm.
Yeah, a lot of memories on that channel. Rumble is definitely a solution, Corey, but we don't have the money here because already we're paying for a streaming service. We are paying for a streaming service, which this is not free. We are paying for this. And we can hardly cover the cost of the electricity bills. And Rumble is asking an enormous amount of money for streaming. I was like really thinking Rumble was a little bit more, but I guess they want to make money, so whatever. But who cares, guys? My first job is to be a writer because I know that one day out of all of what you see in the internet, nothing is going to stay. This is going to become a digital desert.
I think that's really funny because everybody's so into the internet, and especially like the millennials. They have this whole social life with the internet, and then like and money is like all in the internet, like cryptocurrency. And then I never wanted to really get into cryptocurrency, besides the fact that I had a message from God not to do it. But I don't know. It's just no electricity, no more money. That's how I think it's gonna. I'd rather have like gold in my hand. Really gold, I think.
Well, because another thing about crypto, it's completely, they tell you to move to electric cars, and they are basically the last thing you need at the moment, because everything you need to build an electric car is going to destroy further this planet and destroy precious resources that are already in jeopardy. And the same thing can be said for crypto, which to produce crypto and to work crypto and to mine crypto, you consume so much electricity, which is unsustainable. So all these unsustainable things, they need to be promoted, because then once they promote them, wow, let's get back to the good old nuclear days. Let's get back to all this. And then, of course, they will say it's only for a moment of transition, because, of course, later on we will save the world with their solar panels and their windmills. But in the meantime, nuclear. So both electric cars and crypto are the problem, not the solution. Plus, the electric car is built so they can control you. So, so a policeman can stop your car like this. You can't do a police chase anymore because they're going to simply push the button. Ping! The car. Now, I don't care about police chases, guys. I'm not a guy who goes around running with the police behind. But the thing is that they will use it to then stop people and tell them when they can go somewhere, where they can go. The AI will control the power grid, and together it will control the cars, the so-called smart cars, smart houses, smart everything. And in this book, I said everything smart is in reality satanic.
Can we take callers?
Yes.
I'm getting depressed.
Oh, you're not getting depressed. You are simply preparing for the future scenarios that, of course, are very apocalyptic, to say the least. How are we going to save ourselves? A lot of faith in God, because at the moment only that is. No. Yeah. Okay, guys. The Leo Zagami Show, you can call in.
You can't be afraid to die, and you can't be afraid to die for what you believe in either. So,
yeah. Too many chickens, guys.
There's just too many chickens.
Too many chickens that, we have too many lions, we call them in Italy, leoni delle tastiere, lions of the desk. The laptop, lions of the laptop.
Laptop warriors.
Yeah, laptop warriors. We have too many laptop warriors. We need people who are real warriors, guys. Laptop warriors, tick. Switch off the grid, the electricity, the internet. That's it. You're done. Guys, we have opened, of course, are desk pilot. That's a good one. Okay, so we have the phone number +1 970 577 6369 is open. You can call in. We can discuss the subject of the day. What is the Pope really doing? What is happening? And then let's discuss also and continue to discuss the news of the day, which includes also the latest visit by the international structure that presides over the control of nuclear plants, which is almost the correspective of the World Health Organization in Zaporizhia. Welcome to the Leo Zagami Show. Who am I talking with, and where are you calling from?
Yes, sir. My name is Dennis Patera. I'm calling from Dallas, Texas.
Oh, welcome from the one lonely state star, whatever. I love Texas, I must tell you.
The Lone Star State.
The Lone Star State, very, very much. The Lone Star State, I love Texas. The only problem I have is that Democrats are invading your cities. Surround the cities.
Very true.
Surround the cities. Leave them there without anything. It's just, just surround them. Just keep them there isolated.
Yeah, on that topic, I'm kind of heavily involved with social political aspects and things like that. And before the pandemic hit and stuff, I could already tell that there was some kind of civil insurrection that was going to happen. And I warned people about it, I told them, like, don't fall for any of these tricks, whatever, whether it be you right wing or left wing or whatever kind of extremists and stuff. Yet, of course, people still kept on rioting. I lost a few friends and this and that, and all sorts of crap, no justice, no peace, whatever. But I mean, it's so dumb. Like, people willingly will go out and risk their lives to go on and loot these places. And I mean, I told you it was going to happen, but yet again. So right now I'm trying to warn people once again, kind of just lay back and watch, the whole mess of a show happen. But, whatever. It is what it is.
Now, what do you think is going to happen this fall after the midterm elections?
Man, well, since everyone's so heavily involved with, being separated in their beliefs and whether they should take a shot, which of course I haven't taken one since it first came out. I mean, unfortunately, I have a great immune system, so if I even did catch it, it still didn't really affect me too much. So, I mean, I don't need to be negative or anything, but people have tried to get me to take the shot. I'm like, no. And the further that time goes on, I don't want to take it. So once whatever mess hits the fan, it's going to be the same exact thing. People that are just kind of asleep, or people that are just just
going back to the sorry for interrupting, but the midterm elections, how important they are for you?
You know what? I don't vote. I hate to say it. I do not vote. It's been a while. It's just I don't get involved with it because it's just all. You know how it goes. It's just there's people on the right side, people on the left side with money. They're just.
But don't you feel like
I
I completely understand what your point, and I respect it, but don't you think that at this point, when you have actually under threat your entire state by a bunch of people, most of them imported from states like California, who are transforming literally the DNA of your state, maybe you should get a little bit involved. It seems though to me that maybe these are the last real elections that we should get involved with, because after that, I mean, even the presidential elections of 2024 could be a milestone. But I don't think that we will have any more chances after that, because if these people lose, these people are going to simply impose a state which is constant. And it's a state basically of illusion, simply like the one we have in California, where we don't really understand how, but they always stay in power and we can never get rid of them.
Like Nancy Pelosi?
No, like everybody else. The whole state is rigged. Even the Republican Party is rigged here. I think that at least in Texas, you have not only Governor Abbott, but also still some true Republicans, because no matter what our president of today says, the MAGA Republicans are the real conservatives, while the others are just the product of the worst neocon BS that has ruined this country for many decades, like George W. Bush, his father, and all those criminals who sold out this country.
The MAGA Republicans are going to save the planet.
Well, I don't know if they're going to say it, but I think they have one last chance to at least see if there is still a possibility. This midterm is the last chance. After that, I don't think we have a chance. But in any case, I think that whatever happens between 2024 and 2025. We're going to see the first states break away from the union, because the union is doomed. Is doomed by this division, which is becoming.
How horrible is this for Americans? I mean, this is very bad.
But let's think about it, guys. Nowadays,
we're the United States of America.
But look at the TV. I saw the interview with these millennial people or with these people. Nowadays, listen a second, please. It's very important here. I see more and more people, apart from the ones who are inciting violence from the Democrat side, but I see a lot of people simply saying, I'm not going to go to lunch or dinner with a guy from the other party. I'm not going to go out, on a date with somebody from the other party. This never happened in America before. It's happening now. You understand, Christy? So there is a division. You don't want me, I don't want you. You don't want to go to dinner with me, I don't want to go to dinner with you. It starts like this and ends up with me and you with a gun at our faces. Because it's not anymore the America we used to know, where Republicans and Democrats were balanced in a way because they were really at the core protecting the interest of America. Here you have at least one party which is making the interest of China, and the other one is still trying to survive in this transformation, which I don't know if it's going to be successful, but should provide something new. I don't think that Sarah Palin was anything new. In fact, Sarah Palin was defeated, even if it was Trump who endorsed her. And I think that Trump did an idiotic thing to endorse Dr. Oz. Trump has been doing some wrong moves, and we need to be honest about it. Why is he doing these wrong moves? So, I mean, I esteem Trump. I think he's under attack, but his advisors are really ditch them all, because they're a bunch of idiots. I think that's pretty clear, no?
Yeah, I hate to interrupt, but on that note right there, what was I going to say? Yeah, like I said, I live in Dallas. It's a Democrat-run city. The guy, everyone in charge of the courts and stuff like that are all Democratic. And I've looked plenty into the whole structure, and it turns out, it's a good old boys town. People know people, and they get put in positions and stuff like that. And there's certain city council members that just kind of slide through the courts. They don't get charged for anything or whatever. So
no. I've been in Dallas.
Local politics and stuff.
I've been in Dallas in 2008. I'm pretty sure that if I go again to Dallas, I will have the same impression I had when I went back to Austin. And I told my wife about it when I went to Austin. It changed to the worse. I mean, between 2008 and 11 years later, I go back, and Austin is a Democrat shithole with people laying in the streets, defecating in the streets. It's a federal country scenario in Austin. I don't know if it's the same in Dallas, but probably it's the same.
Around when everything shut down in 2020 and stuff, the buses and the trains were completely empty. The only people that were riding the buses mainly were homeless people, right? So they got used to not getting their tickets checked and stuff like that. And it created this sort of environment within the buses. And it's gotten pretty bad. People are defecating on the buses, on the side of the bus stops, just being very, just not discreet at all. Like, y'all can go in and walk out to a field somewhere and take, whatever. But it's gotten real nasty. These aren't the type of homeless people that I grew up with here in Dallas. These are something else. These came from, I'm not sure, God, where they came from, but there's a lot of drugs involved, a lot of, people using, abusing and stuff like that. Heroin, and stuff.
It's obvious that China has found a weak spot here. They have made a deal with the Mexican cartels, bring in fentanyl and kill as many people as you can and corrupt the youth. I mean, it's obvious. And the crazy thing is that we are letting this happen. Thank you so much for calling today from Dallas, Texas. We will, of course, continue with the other callers. Our show is ending in 10 minutes. So hurry up. You can still call us +1 970 577-6369. Thank you again to the caller who was definitely inspiring a lot. It's an interesting conversation. And in the meantime, I want to thank those people who make this transmission possible with their donations on Funding, on GoFundMe, on Cash App. Those people who know that it's not easy to put together a show like this and at the same time to bring it to you regularly without really even donating anything. We will be not on the air. I'm sorry for my English at that time. It's not.
Well, your English is fine.
But whatever. In any case, I want to thank those people like Bruce Codish, Pina Cairo, Giuseppina, and the other people, Anonymous. There is some anonymous people that made some donation. We thank all the people who donated.
Anonymous.
And of course, welcome to the Leo Zagami show. Where are you calling from?
Ciao, Leo.
Ciao.
This is Dwayne.
Hello.
From Idaho.
Oh, Idaho. We love
Idaho. We love
great,
Idaho.
great state. And one of the states I visited when I first came here in 2019, and I'm looking forward to visit Idaho again. So, what do you think of the subject of today, and what would you like to discuss with us?
Leo, I used to be a Mormon missionary in Sicily, Sicilia, right?
So you went around knocking the doors and say, I'm a Mormon in Sicily. Good luck with that. They must have been pretty... I mean, they might have thought you were Jehovah's Witnesses or something.
When I was there, it was in 1980, 82.
Wow.
In the early 80s.
Now, that's actually when I was in Sicily as a little boy. So I was in Messina. I remember there were people knocking every now and then, but they were mostly Jehovah's Witnesses.
Same thing, right? Jehovah's Witnesses.
Now, well, I know the difference, and of course, I had a friend, Julian Smith, who, because Smith is but Julian Smith was a Mason I knew in England. He was very much, he presented me some very interesting figures from the Mormon community who told me about how they work with their mission door to door. So are you still a Mormon today?
No. Heavens no. Che cazzo mi dici? No,
well, of course, you have understood maybe that today the main people in charge of the CIA are either the Mormons or Catholics. So, I mean, you have lost your possibility of getting recruited by Langley.
You should do a show about Mormonism. And
absolutely. I think that there has been some requests in the past, because actually I have to admit that when we came here to America, at some of our events, public events, actually...
They really came from far.
They came from Utah. They came from Utah. A bunch of... No, I tell you, they came... They were very respectful. They were very, very lovely people. They came with their... And several wives. Several wives. We got a little confused because there were many wives. But in any case... they were very kind, and they gave us some publications about their Mormon prophets and so on. These were like really Orthodox old school Mormons that were critical, though, of the new Mormon leadership, because they said that was in course with the Vatican. And in fact, the Vatican, as you know, has permitted the Church of the Latter-day Saints to construct their biggest temple in Europe, in Rome, not so long ago. It was presented. So they definitely have made a deal with the devil, and
definitely. Definitely, because it's all, as you have said, it's all like, yes, they make deals, but it's like like the Catholics. You know, the people that believe in it, they believe in it, and they're good of heart, just like the Mormons, the Buddhists, blah, 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 blah. But it's all the same.
Well, I mean, the structures are made of humans, and humans, unfortunately, seem to be more and more entrenched in human activities more than in spiritual activities. I mean, these churches are transformed in businesses. I mean, it's like, you go to a church, but you are really going into a business-minded setup that is thinking, there is, remember the Catholic priest back in Italy, the first thing is like he gives, it's like this. You put the money in and then he starts talking and blessing you. I mean, come on, it's ridiculous. I remember some Russian friends of mine came in the 90s, a couple from St. Petersburg came to Rome to visit, and they were impressed and shocked and actually outraged when they went in the Catholic churches and there was, you had to put the coin to put on the light. The Orthodox were not having that. They said that was such a sellout. And I agreed with them. I said, no surprise, absolutely. They are a sellout. They have sold themselves to the devil a long time ago. But the same can be said definitely for probably the main branches of Mormonism. Thank you so much for calling us today. And of course, we will have the opportunity maybe of one more caller if they're fast enough. We will give the possibility to one more caller, but in the meantime, you can pick up Rambo, of course, because we are reaching the end of today's show. It was a brilliant show, of course, a special show that was made possible by our sponsors, by the people who believe in us, and that's why we will carry on also on Saturday morning.
What you doing, buddy?
What is Rambo doing?
He's having
Rambo,
nice.
what's up? Having a nice day because he had a big steak.
You got a steak?
Steak? Yeah, not a big steak. He had a little bit of steak because with what the steak costs these days, I mean.
He had a bite of it.
Yeah, I mean.
He'd love a steak. He would eat the whole thing.
But it would be probably. He could eat more than he can really. His stomach can hold. He could eat himself to death. I mean,
say that.
No, but the guy is just like he goes around. Rambo.
He needs to eat for energy. He has to fight Democrats.
Okay, fight Democrats. Okay. Guys, it seems like, of course, we're reaching the end of our show. We will be back on Saturday. For those people who, of course, in Europe are following us and are wondering what's going to happen to us. Well, remember that your leaders are the cause of your problems.
Hey, Italians, why don't you march?
Hey, that's really march.
What happened to the march, guys?
Yeah, really. 100 years ago, people had balls in Italy and they marched and they gained control of the country. Nowadays, there's no balls. They've been castrated mentally, physically. Somebody says, can you, Leo, have an English option for closed captioning when you do videos in the other language? No, well, I mean, when I do videos
you don't
in
want
the
to
other...
know what he's saying.
No, it's political stuff regarding Italy. I mean,
it's really like...
It's local stuff. Now, in Italy, for example,
it's funny, though. My theory on YouTube is so funny.
No, but... on the 25th of September, we have the elections in Italy. And so there is a full-on, and these people still believe in these idiots who have locked them up for 2 years. I mean, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. It's totally insane. Okay.
We did it! We did it!
Happy Thursday, everyone!
See you on Saturday, guys.
Please spread this video, and remember, we have a new official channel for the Leo Zagami Show. Please, I ask you, please subscribe to this channel. Otherwise, you will never, ever see us again.
No, we'll be back.
Okay. No, they'll never see us again because simply they don't know where to search for us, where to find us. Okay.
Bye, Bruce. Bye, Katie. Bye, Red Pill. I can't read, Joshua.
Somebody says we will not, Bruce, we will not stop anything. Well, absolutely, but the problem is not us. The problem is the Democrats who are fomenting violence. It's not us. I mean, we're going to have to defend ourselves. There might be some drag queen with an AK-47 at the door.
They'll try to shoot us with their uniform.
I don't know, but I'm not afraid of some combat RuPaul.
Combat RuPaul.
Take care, guys. From Palm Springs, California, that's it, and a little bit more. Hustle e chiudo. Hey!
Hey!
A presto.